Hello, EXP family. Wanted to give you a quick overview on how to pull some basic comparable sales. And the whole reason that you're going to want to pull these comparable sales, two things. One, you're going to want to know what other houses have sold for if you're going to be taking a listing. But the other thing you're going to want is if you're making an offer for your clients, you need to be able to know what the other houses are selling for so that you can advise them on what to offer. So let me share my screen with you really quick and we'll get on with how to pull some basic comps. First and foremost, you're going to want to go into Paragon. So hopefully everybody knows how to find that. We are going to go to search. And the house that I'm looking for that we're going to pull comps on today is actually my childhood house that I lived in from the time I was 2 until the time I was 12. So just something fun for me to do, if nothing else. So we're going to click right here on residential. And once you click on residential, let me clear these things out here really quick. You're going to go to type in this address, 2827 South Hiram. I leave the direction out of here because just depending on how other people that had it listed before might have put it in, I try to keep this really basic as I'm looking for it. Or if it's 2 words like Stony Point, I might just put in Stony and see how it's played out. But 2827 Hiram, and then we are going to go to search. And the whole reason that we're searching for this is we're trying to find this little number right here. So it's in area 211. And a high level overview of what these areas are is MLS has taken the map of our market and they've subdivided it into smaller quadrants. So northwest Wichita is going to be area 100, and it's going to have all these other little numbers in there, 101, 102, 103, things like that. Area 200 is southwest Wichita. So this one happens to be 211. Area 300 is north Wichita. So think like Delano, 21st and Amadon, Benjamin Hills, those types of areas are going to be up in 300. Then you go to northeast Wichita, which is area 400. So that's going to be like everything from WSU to Bradley Fair, all the way down like the area that I live in, like Crown Heights, College Hill, Eastboro, all of those are northeast Wichita. Southeast Wichita is area 400. So south of Kellogg and basically like Broadway-ish over is going to be Broadway East is going to be 500 for Southeast Wichita. Then it breaks down even further than that for like Hayesville, Park City, all of those things, but we can get into that in a whole nother video if that's something you guys are curious about. But area 211 is what we're looking for on this one. The other thing I want to look for is click here on the MLS number is I want to see what the square footage is. So this one has 1,109 square feet. So I'm writing that down here on a little scratch pad next to me so that I can remember these things. 3-bedroom, 1 bath, 1 car garage. Like my little grow up house was super duper basic. So those are the main things that I want to look at. I will point out a couple of things here. If you guys see them and you have questions about them, this might help answer them. But as you scroll down here, it's going to tell you like what year it was built right here. It's going to tell you how many days it sat on the market when it was for sale. We'll look through these again when we're actually looking at the comparisons. But this one has central heat and air. Here's one that you guys might find new. Ownership. So this one says HUD. What HUD is it is a government foreclosure. So anybody that got an FHA loan and then defaulted on their loan, it is a HUD foreclosure. You might also see, as far as foreclosures go, you might see one here that says VA, and those are the ones that a veteran had and then defaulted on their mortgage. So now they're owned by the Veterans Administration. Or you might see one that says REO, and REO is just your basic bank foreclosure. So if you have somebody that's specifically wanting to look for those things, you're going to go in and you're going to modify this ownership quadrant. We'll do another video on it so you understand what I'm saying. But now that we know this one was a foreclosure, it sold in 2017 and it needed a lot of work. So let's hypothetically say that the person that bought this house is now ready to sell 3.5 years later, and they have totally went in, fixed it up, and now it's ready to go on the market. So those are the comparisons that we're going to pull as though one, we were listing it, or two, we're representing the buyer, and here's what we should offer. So the next step that we're going to do on finding these comps is we're going to go right back up here to criteria in the top left, click that button. Let's get rid of 2827 Hiram right here. The first thing you're going to fill in where it says status sold, and you're going to select all sold. The next one you're going to fill in right here is area 211. Depending on the area, if there's like a lot of condos and you're looking at a single family, or if you're trying to find condo comparables, you can fill that out right here. So single family on-site built, that's going to be a single family house. Off-site is going to be like a double wide or modular. You've got these other ones, like if it was a twin home or patio home, and there's your condo if it's that. But with this one being single family, doesn't hurt to put it in there, but not necessary. On this, approximate AGLA, what does that stand for? Above ground living area. Okay, so that's the main floor or anything above ground. This one only has one level, so it's the only level square footage. And when we saw it on the previous MLS, it says 1109. So what I like to do is go 909 to 1309. So I subtracted 200 square feet from my subject property and put it on the first line, and I added 200 square feet to the subject property to get the maximum amount there. And a couple of other things I will go ahead and put in: basement, none, start typing it out. Garage size, 1 car. And then this was already selected from a previous search that I did, but it shows me that there's 3 houses in the last 6 months that have sold. So let's first look at those and see if there's enough in the parameters. Like when an appraiser goes out and looks at this house, they want 3 houses that have sold in the last 6 months that are all very similar in finish, age, neighborhood, all of that. So let's look at these and see if we need to branch out any further. So they're all fairly similar in price. These, the way they populated, they didn't put them in order. You can click on price and it will put them in order for you. So something you might do, like if you're out on a listing presentation, or even if you're talking with buyers, let's say that we're going to look at this one on 27th Street. I happen to know that 27th Street is a lot busier street than Hiram, just because I grew up in that neighborhood, so I know it. But let's look at this and go, what does this house look like? It's a pretty basic little house. Got some wood floors. It's a pretty basic little kitchen. It's the original cabinets. It's got the brass boob light right there. I mean, it is all, it's very clean. Don't get me wrong, but it is very, very basic. So let's look at the next one and see what it looks like. In order to look at the next one, you just have to hit this arrow right here and hit next. And then you have 3163 South Exposition, and 3 bedroom, 1 bath, 1 car, just like ours. Pretty close in square footage. It's 1,055. Ours is 1,109. So it's a little bit bigger, but it's really, really close. Let's click on these pictures and start kind of glancing through. It's a little cuter curb appeal wise than the first one, except for that big pods box. So this one doesn't have the wood floors, but it looks very clean. Carpet looks fairly new. I'd say at some point the kitchen was probably redone in the 90s, early 2000s. They have put some other, like, looks like luxury vinyl plank on the floor. That same old brass boob light, it lived another day there. Now what I want you to think about on this is we're looking at this house on Hiram and we're going to say it's been totally redone. It's got new white cabinets that everybody wants. It's got granite. It's like top of the line. So to me, it's still going to be better than this one. It's a really clean listing. I mean, this is one of those types of listings that you'd take 100 of them because they're going to sell like hotcakes. Yeah, it was on the market less than 7 days. So that's a couple things I'll point out to you as we're also looking at these. So it'll tell you who the agent was that listed it. It'll tell you what year it was built. It tells you what they pay you on a commission. Here's how many days on the market it was. Sometimes these are good to know, like if you're going out on an expired listing and you're seeing that they're only paying 2%, that might be part of the reason why. It's something you could definitely talk to the seller about to try to get a full commission out of them. Scrolling down a little bit further, you can kind of glance around at this. Central heat and air. It had a wood fence. It's got a storage building, covered patio. They're leaving all the appliances, even the washer and dryer. I would say standard. Most people leave the dishwasher, a built-in microwave, and the oven. The refrigerator is one of those things that a lot of times is negotiated, doesn't always stay. Washer and dryer, I would say consider them a bonus if you see them on there. But then you scroll down even a little further on this, and it's going to tell you, here's what it sold for, $92,500. It sold on July 24th, 2020. Now you're going, what the heck is this $91,000? So the buyers ask the seller to pay $1,500 of their closing costs. As a new agent, I want you to understand, this really doesn't mean that the sellers paid this. What this meant is the sellers accepted this $91,000 offer, and the buyers, instead of paying their own costs at cash out of pocket, is just a shell game. They put this other $1,500 on top of their mortgage and financed it in, because this right here is probably less than $10 a month right now for them. And it was easier for them to come up with it this way than all of it out of their pocket at once. So just a couple of little nuggets there to think about. Let's look at the third one. And 2809 South Bennett. So Bennett is like 2 streets over from Hiram. You can use these maps and kind of see where things are positioned, but all of these are going to be really close since we used that area 211. This one has 1,153 square feet, so it's got 44 more square feet than our subject property. That's really darn close. Let's click on this one and see how cute. If you can look at it, it looks almost identical to the house on Hiram as far as like the roof pitch, the brick, all of it. I'm having a flashback to growing up, guys. Okay, so they've got wood floors in here. The agent should have taken professional pictures. It would have really opened up the room so it didn't look like you were looking at the back of a couch. It's pretty basic. I mean, it's got some tile on the floor. It's got the original cabinets. Original tile on the floor in the bathroom. That's an old school fan for sure. And I don't know why they should have had the dog either out of the photo or posing. Yeah, they should have, these pictures. This one had a little sunroom, AKA weight room. Shed, chain link fence. This is a little garage or a little storage room that's in the garage. And I know that the house on Hiram has that as well. So this one is super, super duper close. However, here's something I want you to think about as you're looking at this. The one that we're getting ready to list on Hiram, hypothetically, it had all new white cabinets. Again, it had granite, it had all of this stuff, and it's in a very similar proximity to this one on Bennett, very similar square footage. They were asking 103.5. So let's scroll here a little bit. 2 days on the market. They were just leaving the basic appliances that we talked about to begin with. Okay, another nugget just since I'm sitting here looking at this. These words right here, those are statistically proven to bring less money on offers than if they were not in MLS. So I always hate and hesitate to put this in unless your seller is just absolutely adamant, because sometimes you don't have to make the repairs. Sometimes you just have to give credits for it, but you could have made a lot more money because this makes people nervous. What's wrong with the house? But let's scroll down here. So this one sold for $107,000. Go back up. They were asking 103.5. But this is what's happening right now in our market because they're selling for over asking price because we have such a shortage of inventory. So something to look at here. The seller only paid $600 of that buyer's closing costs or some type of credit that they gave them. I know we just negotiated one the other day that we were willing to give a $300 closing cost credit in lieu of a repair. So maybe that is what happened here because $600 isn't very much. So basically this seller accepted 106.4, but the house still appraised for 107. So to me, knowing that the one on Hiram that we're talking about and we're hypothetically listing or hypothetically selling, if it's totally fixed up, it's worth more than this one. So what I want to do just to like solidify this, if I'm talking to a seller or a buyer so that they understand, is that first of all, I want to show them this listing. Like it looks almost identical on the outside. Here's what it looks like on the insides. I show them the photos and I walk through it with them. But one thing I do want to do with this is let's go back to criteria and let's add 12 months and let's see what else has sold over 100,000. Oops, this is what I want to do. 100, and let's just go up here to 120 and see if there's any. Okay, so there's 3 houses in this area in the last year. So let's see what those look like. One of them is going to be the one we just discussed on Bennett. There it is. Here's one on Elizabeth. So this one has a bath and a half, if you look at it right here. So I would rule that one out. And obviously it's not as nice if it was priced at this compared to that other one. And let's look at this one on Millwood. So I don't know if we'll have to look, guys, and look at the pictures. This one says it's 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. That's hard to believe in a little 1,200 square foot shell. So here's the front. Okay, so at some point that kitchen's been updated. It's still not going to be as nice as the one that we're hypothetically listing or selling. because it's not the new white cabinets and the granite. They got tile floors. It's very clean, it's very light. All the trim's been painted. So here's one bathroom. Pretty basic, but it's nice. There's a second bathroom. And there's a third bathroom. That's super hard to believe, but that's one of those things that could be why this one sold for what it did. Because if you look at this one, it's $119,900. And let's see what it sold for. Sold in 13 days right here. And it sold for $115,000, and the seller paid $750 in closing costs. So when I look at this and compare all of these, I mean, I definitely think that we need to be somewhere over 107. We're going to check a couple more things. We're going to go to criteria. Let's see what's pending. There's one over 100 grand. Let's see what it is. Because now I want to look and see what my competition is and what's pending. Because if you look at this one and you see that it's pending and it's only 4 days on the market, the chances of them discounting the price very much is slim. So here it is. They listed it at $114,900. So I'm very confident to say that it's sold somewhere close to that. We won't know what this sold for until the deal closes. And then the agent has to update MLS and report that sales price. So here we go. 3-bedroom, 1 bath, 1 car garage, exactly like ours. 1,172 square feet. So 63 square foot difference, not a huge amount. Let's kind of glance at these photos. We got white trim, we got gray paint, we got some refinished hardwoods that are really nice. There we go, guys. There's some white cabinets, there's some granite. Now we're in the ballpark of this other house that we're hypothetically buying or selling. There's some more granite, and the reason I can tell that really easy is it's an undermount sink. All right, so super clean little house. This is a super solid comp for us. So the first one was 107. This one, 114,900. And then let's see here. All new appliances, move-in ready, 1 car garage with opener, fenced yard. And then if you scroll down a little further, you're going to see, oops, this agent should have already updated this. They will wind up being fined if they do a pending audit and see that they haven't updated this, because this should have closed by December 3rd. So this should have shown up in our pending sales. So if you ever run across this, the best thing to do, if this is one of your best comps, is to call this listing agent right here and go, hey, I'm getting ready to list a house that's almost identical to the one that you had on Exposition, and just curious, what's going on with that one? Has it closed, or is it coming back on the market? Do you have a buyer for mine if you're getting ready to list it? But that's the person that's going to hold that information of what that one actually sold for. One more thing we're going to do is we're going to hit criteria again, and we're going to change this to active, because these are the ones that other people are going to look at when they're looking at ours, if this is hypothetically our listing. So good news, if you're on the listing side of this, there's none. So for me, I would definitely list the house at 115. You might even try it a little higher than that, 117.5, if you know Like if the cabinets were brand new, where these weren't brand new in that listing, and that type of thing. So those are some quick basics. Now, a couple of advanced options on this that I want to point out is, let's say, and I want to get rid of every one of these so I'm not confusing anybody about this. But let's say that you are out looking at a house that's a bi-level, a tri-level, a quad level, something like that, that's not just a ranch. Obviously, even if it's a ranch and it has a basement, you don't have to put that none like we did. We're going to look for a basement that's either finished or unfinished. If ours is finished, obviously we're looking for finished. If ours is unfinished, the best ones to compare it to are unfinished. But houses that have multiple levels statistically sell for less money per square foot than a ranch. So a ranch is the most desired floor plan in our market. There's just less steps to appeal to more people. So older people that don't want all the steps, and younger people with little kids that don't want all the steps. So, however, if you look through all of these things here, it doesn't say anything about how you find out, is it a bi-level, is it a quad level, so on and so forth. So what you're going to do here is you're going to go right up here, top left, and you're going to hit customize, and you're going to hit fields, and you're going to type in levels. Click this little box, make sure you click add, and then apply. Now what happens is, at the very bottom of this, it's going to show levels. Unfortunately, all of this stuff stayed with us. But let's just say that we're going to look, since I'm going to put some randomness in here, 100 to 120. And if I'm going to list a bi-level hypothetically, or sell a bi-level, I'm going to put bi-level in right there. If that didn't give me enough, let's say that we want it in the last 6 months, you have to put sold here. Okay, all right, we're going to go back up here and play numbers again. So sold, we're going to put it in area 433, which is Northeast Wichita. And on these that are multi-level properties, bi-level, tri-level, quad level, instead of putting the AGLA square footage, I put in a total TFLA. So above ground living area, basement finished area, total finished living area. So let's do these 1,800. Our house is going to have 2,000 square feet. So we're going to subtract 200 and put it in the first one. We're going to add 200, put it in the second one. So this tells me, let's go here, and we're going to see how many have sold in the last 6 months that were only bi-levels. There's only 2. Okay, so we could look at those and we could see how close they were to this. Both of them are 170. That's a really strong point that that's about what they're worth in that neighborhood. You're just going to have to, again, compare and see how they stack up as far as upgrades. But let's go back to criteria and go, okay, we need a little bit more options than that. So then you can type in tri-level, quad level. Now you got 2 more to choose from. And I don't know if you saw this on my screen or not, but here's how you know. This one's a quad, this one's a tri. Look how close these all are. So more than likely, the house, if you're hypothetically listing it or selling it in area 433, and it's a multi-level property, you're going to be 168 to 174.5. So those are some high-level overviews, quick overviews of how to pull comps out of MLS. If you guys have any questions about this, don't hesitate to post them on our EXP private page. I know I'm very happy to answer questions, and we've got a lot of really smart agents that also know how to do this, and they're happy to answer any questions that you guys might have too. So don't hesitate to ask your questions. No question is stupid. You need to have it answered so that you have an understanding, because honestly, to me, this is the most important part of your job. Because if you don't know this, I don't care how much you market and how much you're spending, you're going to wind up with a buyer every here and there or a seller every here and there. But if you don't know this and you don't have that confidence when you're explaining it to a buyer or seller, you're not going to have as much loyalty. So the fortune is in these numbers. So make sure that you're getting your questions answered and that you're understanding how to pull these comps. So I hope that this quick video helped you, wasn't confusing, but if you do have any questions, make sure you get them answered. Talk to you guys soon.